My best friend Sophia posted a screenshot on her social media feed. A third-party payment confirmation from a popular shopping site. The caption read, "Thanks to my dear for clearing out my cart for me," followed by a winking emoji. My blood ran cold. Even though she had pixelated most of the payer's account name, I recognized the unobscured portion instantly. It belonged to Liam, my boyfriend, the same man I was currently in a Cold War with. The man who considered a single tube of lipstick an extravagant waste when I bought it for myself had just willingly paid for thousands of dollars worth of items for my best friend? I had to get to the bottom of this. But as I was about to confront him, I saw it. Sophia, the same friend who had just last night sworn she would march over and give Liam a piece of her mind on my behalf, was now locked in a passionate, desperate kiss with him. My jaw dropped. The world went silent and white, my brain refusing to process the scene unfolding before me. A bitter, acidic taste filled my mouth. I was a pathetic, laughable fool. A complete and utter idiot. There was no mistake, no misunderstanding. The two people I trusted most in the world, my boyfriend and my sister in spirit, had betrayed me together. And the most laughable part? Just last night, Sophia had been the picture of righteous indignation, promising to avenge me. And I had believed her. I had actually sat there, waiting for Liam to come back and apologize. My vision blurred and tears I couldn't hold back spilled down my cheeks. I sat on a bench across from Liam's apartment building all night. The light in his window didn't go out until well after midnight. Sophia never left. The next morning she emerged from the building, her arm linked cozily with his. Suddenly she stopped, tilting his chin up to hers. "Tell me," she said, her voice a low, playful command. "Do you love me?" I love you, you little siren," he answered without hesitation, playfully tapping the tip of her nose. "And what about Vivian?" she pressed. Liam's brow furrowed, his annoyance palpable. "Why bring her up first thing in the morning?" Fine, we won't talk about her." Satisfied with his answer, Sophia's lips curved into a smug smile. They continued down the street, laughing and talking before getting into his car. My fists clenched at my sides. I watched the car disappear, a cold fury solidifying in my chest. Then I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. "Mom, I've made up my mind. I'm coming home to take over the family business." "Really?" My mother's voice was a burst of surprised delight. "Yes, really. But I have one condition." "What condition?" I could hear the anxiety in her voice, the fear that I might change my mind. "Don't announce my new role just yet. Before that, I want to take over the branch office here first." I heard my mother let out a long, relieved sigh. "Oh, is that all? I thought it was something serious." "That's simple enough," she agreed without a second thought. "And Liam?" she asked tentatively. Since graduation, my mother had brought up my inheriting the business countless times, and I had always refused, unwilling to leave him. "We broke up," I said, my voice hoarse. Sensing my pain, she adopted a breezy tone. "I had a feeling you two wouldn't last." "It's all right, darling, there are plenty of good men out there. I'll arrange a matchmaking party for you tomorrow." I could practically feel her giddy excitement through the phone, and for a moment my grief was shocked into oblivion. No, Mom, that's really not necessary," I stammered. "Oh? Are you sure?" she asked, her disappointment audible. Before hanging up, she added, her voice full of warmth, "Vivian, remember, no matter what happens, your father and I will always be your staunchest supporters." A lump formed in my throat. I couldn't speak. My eyes burned. I blinked hard, forcing back the tears, and managed a soft, "Okay," before quickly ending the call. I didn't want her to know how broken I was. I was the one who had chosen Liam against my family's wishes. I had stayed in this city for him, barely ever going home. The last time I'd seen my parents was at Christmas almost a year ago. A wave of guilt washed over me. I had neglected the people who loved me unconditionally for a man who was utterly worthless. The call ended and my phone's wallpaper reappeared. It was a photo of Liam and me on my last birthday. I was wearing a party hat, my eyes closed as I made a wish over the candles, a look of pure bliss on my face. Beside me, Liam was gazing at me with an expression of such tender, all-consuming love. Liam, Sophia, and I had all been classmates, and Sophia and I had been roommates. She had witnessed our entire love story unfold. She was the one who had helped Liam plan his pursuit of me. She was the one who had cried tears of joy when I finally found happiness. And she was the one who had betrayed me, who had stolen him from me. Sophia's parents had always favored her younger brother. I had always thought of her as being more worldly and street-smart than I was, but I never believed she was a bad person. I had forgotten that you can know a person's face, but never their heart. Looking back, the signs of their affair were everywhere. The once attentive Liam had grown cold and impatient with me, while developing a special, tender rapport with Sophia. He knew her favorite foods, her quirks, her passions. I had once teased him about it, feigning jealousy. "Who's your girlfriend, anyway?" You silly girl. "Of course it's you," he had said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "I'm nice to Sophia, because she's your best friend." At the time, his words had felt as sweet as honey. Now they tasted like poison. I was such a fool. I deleted the photo and called HR to take a personal day. I needed to pack. The apartment was filled with memories of him, and I couldn't bear to stay another night. Just then my phone rang. It was my assistant, Amy. Her voice was panicked. "Vivian, where are you? How far are you from the office? What's wrong?" Just get here as fast as you can. You'll see when you arrive." She was hesitant, clearly afraid to say more. A knot of dread formed in my stomach. Something major had happened. "I'm on my way." I hailed a cab and headed straight for the office. The atmosphere in the office was strange. My colleagues looked at me with a mixture of pity and unease. When I tried to catch the eye of those I was friendly with, they quickly looked away, pretending to be busy. The ones I'd clashed with in the past wore smug, triumphant expressions. Just as I was trying to make sense of it all, Amy rushed over. "Vivian, you're finally here," she said, her forehead beaded with sweat. "What happened?" I asked, walking towards my office. "Wait." Amy tried to stop me, but I was too fast. I had already pushed the door open, and there she was, Sophia, sitting in my chair. I frowned. The moment she saw me, a flash of panic crossed her face, quickly replaced by a strained, unnatural smile. "Vivian, you're here. Why are you here?" I asked, my voice cold, all traces of our former sisterly affection gone. "Liam, Mr. Davies told me to sit here," she said, looking distressed. She stood up and tried to take my hand as she always used to. Mr. Davies. That was Liam. After graduation, all three of us had joined the same electronics distribution company. We started as junior clerks. 3 years later, Liam was the general manager, and I was the head of the marketing department. Sophia, due to her average performance, was still a junior clerk. The moment her hand touched mine, I recoiled, yanking my arm away. I hadn't used much force, but she let out a cry of pain and stumbled backward, collapsing against the desk. "Sophia!" A sharp cry came from behind me. I was shoved aside as a figure rushed past me to her side. It was Liam. He had pushed me so hard I nearly fell. Amy grabbed me just in time, but I twisted my ankle. I bit down hard on my lip, refusing to let out a sound as a sharp, searing pain shot up my leg. "Are you okay?" Liam asked Sophia, his voice thick with concern as he helped her up. She shook her head, but her furrowed brow and tear-filled eyes screamed her innocence and victimhood. "I was the one who told her to sit there," Liam said, his voice a hammer blow to my heart. "If you have a problem, take it up with me." My hands, hanging at my sides, clenched into fists. My already cold heart turned to ice. We were in a cold war, yes, but we hadn't officially broken up. I was still technically his girlfriend, yet here he was publicly defending her. I pointed at Sophia, who was still playing the innocent. "What right does she have to sit there?" That was the marketing director's chair, a position I had earned through years of hard work. "Who said she doesn't have the right? Didn't you see the company-wide announcement?" Sophia's recent performance has been outstanding, especially her proposal for the new shopping festival. Head office was very impressed. She's been appointed as the new head of marketing. His words were a thunderclap. I was stunned into silence. A new proposal? For the past few days while we were fighting, Sophia had been staying with me. I hadn't seen her work on any proposal. In fact, I was the one who had pulled 2 all-nighters to finish a proposal, which I had then submitted. I remembered Sophia, seeing how exhausted I was, had offered to handle the final submission for me. I looked at Amy. She nodded, confirming my suspicions. No wonder she had called me in such a panic. As my assistant, she knew exactly who had done the work. No wonder Sophia had been so interested in my progress. I had thought it was strange at the time. She'd never cared about my work before. So this was it. My best friend had stolen my boyfriend, and now she was stealing my job too? Suddenly, all the years I had invested in her, all the help I had given her, felt like a complete waste. Her family was poor. I had always been the one to bail her out. I had even paid for her mother's surgery last year. I looked at her, a cold smile on my face. You're saying you wrote that proposal? Her eyes met mine for a second before darting away. Vivian, I know this is hard for you, Liam said, his tone softening, trying to coax me into accepting this new reality. He even had the audacity to invoke head office. As the branch manager, no proposal would even reach head office without his recommendation. I stared at him for a long time, until his confident gaze faltered and he too looked away. A wave of utter desolation washed over me. I had no energy left to fight. She said she wrote the proposal? Fine. Let's see how she executes it. I had been planning to resign tomorrow anyway. One day earlier made no difference. In that case, I quit. I pulled out the resignation letter I had already prepared and threw it on the desk in front of him. Vivian, don't be so rash. It's all my fault. I'll give the position back to you right now, Sophia said, her head bowed, her eyes filled with tears, the very picture of remorse. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw the triumphant smirk she couldn't quite suppress. Liam, who had expected me to back down, was clearly enraged by my resignation. Vivian, you're being so petty. It's just a department head position. You've had it for so long. Did Sophia ever complain? Liam, don't say that. Can't you see how pale Vivian is? Sophia pleaded, a fake tremor in her voice. But her words only fueled his anger. Why shouldn't I say it? Her abilities are no less than Vivian's. Why should Vivian get to monopolize the position? Sophia, just because you're best friends doesn't mean you have to let her walk all over you. He spoke as if I had subjected Sophia to years of unbearable injustice. I stared at the man I had loved for 7 years, a bitter laugh rising in my throat. So this was what he truly thought of me. I was petty. I was ungenerous. But he was the one who had once praised me for being gentle, kind, and magnanimous. The pain in my heart was a physical thing, a sharp, tearing agony. There was nothing more to say. The job, the boyfriend, I didn't want any of it anymore. Let's go, I said to Amy, who was still supporting me. Vivian, she said, her voice full of concern. I knew she was angry for me, but she was just an assistant. I shook my head, silently telling her I was fine. Every step I took out of the office was an exercise in agony, the pain in my ankle excruciating. I clenched my jaw, refusing to make a sound. Vivian, what's wrong with your leg? Despite my efforts, Sophia noticed my limp. I ignored her feigned concern. Seeing that I wouldn't respond, she nudged Liam. Liam, what are you just standing there for? Go and see what's wrong. But he didn't move. He just snorted. She's just putting on a show. In that moment, the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony in my heart. His cold, heartless words were like a serrated knife, carving another deep gash into my already wounded soul. I clenched my fists and walked out of the company without looking back. And he not once glanced in my direction. I went to the hospital first, had my ankle treated, then went home. My real estate agent was efficient. She had already found a new apartment for me. With no job to go to, I had plenty of time to rest and recover. For the next few days, I lived like a hermit. Amy called a few times, checking on my ankle and giving me updates from the office. Sophia, having stolen my proposal and my position, was now acting like she owned the place. She and Liam were openly a couple at work, and with him backing her up, she had become an insufferable tyrant. Many people had complained, but anyone who dared to challenge her was quickly fired by Liam on some trumped-up excuse. But the marketing director's job was not as easy as she thought. Executing the proposal she had stolen required coordination between multiple departments. Having alienated so many people, she was met with resistance at every turn. She had to go crying to Liam, who then had to pressure the other departments to cooperate. I had to laugh. Liam was a man of principle. In all our years together, he had never once used his position to help me or give me any special treatment. Everything I had earned myself. But now, a few tears from Sophia, and he was breaking all his own rules. I had to admit she was good. The day before the event, Liam called me. A chill went down my spine. I answered. What is it? My voice was ice. Why won't you open the door? I've been ringing the bell for ages, didn't you hear me? he demanded, his patience clearly gone. I moved. Moved? Where did you move? Does it concern you? Of course it concerns me. I'm your boyfriend. Shouldn't you tell me where you're going? He was practically sputtering. I laughed. It was the funniest joke I'd heard in a long time. Boyfriend? Didn't we break up? Break up? When did we break up? He asked, panicked. You know now. I don't agree. Liam, I'm informing you, not asking for your permission. All right, Vivian, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have neglected you. Can we stop fighting? Where did you move? I'll come and find you, he said, his tone suddenly soft and conciliatory. You're mistaken. I'm not fighting. And you don't need to find me. I was unmoved by his attempts at reconciliation. Vivian, I can't live without you. The company can't live without you. Come back. The marketing director position is still yours, he pleaded. Ah, there it was. The real reason for his call. It wasn't that he couldn't live without me. It was that the proposal was falling apart, and he had no choice but to come crawling back. The most crucial part of my proposal was a guest appearance by the wildly popular celebrity Julian Kai, who would be taking photos. With lucky fans. Everyone knew Julian never did these kinds of events. Sophia had stolen my proposal thinking she had won, but she didn't know that Julian had only agreed to participate because of me. We had grown up together. He was my childhood best friend. Yesterday, when he heard what had happened, he had his agent cancel the appearance. It had only been a verbal agreement, so there was no breach of contract. But now, with everything else in place, they were missing their star attraction. The event was just a day away, and the publicity had already gone out. Without Julian, they would be a laughingstock. This wasn't just about one event, it was about Liam's own performance review. He was up for a vice president position, and he couldn't afford any mistakes. So he was desperate. He thought that because I had once loved him so deeply, he could win me back with a few sweet words and have me come running to save him. But he didn't know that the moment I saw him kissing Sophia, my love for him had died. Oh, I drawled. The marketing director position is still mine? What about Sophia? She's not capable of handling the position. She can go back to her old job, he said without hesitation. I had to laugh. Even now, he thought he could have us both working side by side as if nothing had happened. I didn't know if he was naive or if he just thought I was a complete idiot. It's not impossible for me to come back, I said slowly, deliberately drawing out the suspense. He was overjoyed. Really? That's great. I knew you couldn't bear to be without me. We're soulmates, Vivian, in life and in work. There was a time I would have agreed with him. Now the idea was laughable. But I kept my tone neutral. But I have a condition. Name it, he said, a note of caution in his voice. I don't want to see Sophia. I want you to fire her. Vivian, you're not such a petty person. I know she made a mistake, but you two were such good friends. Can't you just forgive her this once? If you don't want to see her, I'll make sure she stays out of your way. I just smiled to myself. I didn't say a word, just let the silence stretch, waiting for his answer. I wanted to see what he would choose. His own self-interest or his supposed love for Sophia. He knew I wouldn't budge. After a few seconds of silence, he said, Fine, as you wish. I'll let her go tomorrow. I laughed. It seemed his love for Sophia wasn't so unbreakable after all. In the face of his own ambition, she was easily discarded. But he didn't know that it wasn't just Sophia who would be leaving the company. It was him too. The next day, I returned to the office as promised. At the entrance, I ran into Sophia, carrying a box of her belongings. Her eyes were filled with a venomous hatred. You must be very proud of yourself, Vivian. I ignored her and started to walk past. I bet Liam didn't tell you, she said, her voice full of smug triumph. I'm pregnant. So I should thank you for suggesting I go home and rest. I turned my expression calm. You're welcome. And congratulations. She was disappointed that I wasn't hurt, that I wasn't hysterical. Don't worry, I said, a mocking smile on my face. Being at home alone is boring. I'll make sure Liam joins you soon. What do you mean? Are you joking? She didn't believe me, thinking I was just bluffing. I didn't argue. I just gave her a meaningful smile and walked away. With my return, the event was a resounding success. At the celebration party, Liam was in high spirits, basking in the glory. He was confident he had secured the vice president position. Sycophants flocked to him, offering their premature congratulations. He feigned modesty, but the smug smile on his face betrayed his inner delight. But when the official announcement was made, his expression changed. A murmur went through the crowd. "Who did you say the new vice president is?" Liam grabbed the HR manager by the collar, his face dark. "Vivian. Vivian Sterling." The man stammered, terrified. "That's impossible," Liam snarled, his eyes red and menacing. "Why is it impossible?" I said, stepping forward. "And now, my first official act as vice president will be to relieve Mr. Davies of his duties as general manager. Liam, as of tomorrow you don't have to come in anymore. You're fired." "On what grounds?" he demanded, his voice full of disbelief. "Dereliction of duty. Isn't that enough? Ask yourself if it weren't for me, would this event have been a success?" I stared at him, unblinking. He swallowed, unable to argue. The facts were undeniable. "And there's something else I forgot to tell you," I said, stepping closer, my voice low enough for only him to hear. "You didn't really think you got to where you are so quickly after graduation on your own merits, did you?" His face changed, his pupils constricting. "What do you mean?" "I forgot to mention my father is Arthur Sterling." "Arthur Sterling, the chairman of Sterling Enterprises. Our company was just one of its many subsidiaries. Liam was hardworking, yes, but there were many others who were more talented. My father had promoted him solely because of me. I had never told him, wanting to protect his ego. But his success had gone to his head, making him believe he was invincible. How laughable. I was not only going to kick him out of the company, I was going to crush his confidence completely. As expected, the truth hit him like a physical blow. His face went pale, his expression one of utter defeat. I heard that after being fired, Liam and Sophia got married, a shotgun wedding. 2 years later, I saw them again at a college friend's wedding. Liam tried to strike up a conversation. Sophia was cloyingly sweet, but her eyes were full of hostility. I ignored them both. They eventually slunk away, defeated. I thought that would be the last I saw of them, but a few days later, I received a 1,000-word email from Liam. I had always known he was a good writer. The email was eloquent, heartfelt, and full of remorse. If I hadn't already seen his true colors, I might have even been moved. He wrote about how unhappy he was with Sophia, how he reminisced about our good times together. He claimed that he had only gotten with her because he was drunk, that he had never truly loved her. He detailed the misery of his married life and expressed his deep regret for the pain he had caused me. I didn't reply. The audacity of him, thinking he could just keep me on the back burner. So, his life was a mess and he was getting a divorce, and now he remembered me? Even if I were single, I would never go back to him, especially not to a man who was so clearly rotten to the core. The world was full of men. Sophia, however, didn't see it that way. Convinced I was still in love with him, she showed up at my office making a scene. She was a master of disguise, her eyes filled with tears, her expression tragic. "Vivian, do you hate me that much? Must you destroy my marriage? We were best friends." I had to laugh at her shamelessness. "Best friends? You didn't seem to care much about our friendship when you were stealing my boyfriend and my job." I looked at her, a mocking smile on my face, and ruthlessly exposed her hypocrisy. Her face went pale, her eyes darting around. On this matter, she would forever be nailed to the pillar of shame. It was the truth, and she couldn't deny it. I admit I was wrong about the proposal. I was greedy, but being with Liam was an accident. You two were fighting, and he came to me to vent. I was just trying to help you two get back together, but we both drank too much and things happened. I didn't want it to, but what could I do? She cried as if she were the victim. I just sneered. What a twisted version of reality. If she had truly been my friend, wouldn't she have known to keep her distance from my boyfriend? She claimed to be helping us, but she was secretly sleeping with him. Her act was nauseating. It was only after I took over the company that I learned from my colleagues that they had been seeing each other long before our Cold War even began. Many people had witnessed their affair but hadn't known how to tell me, seeing how close I was to both of them. So everyone knew but me. Don't act so innocent. Don't treat everyone else like a fool. I unblocked her on my phone and forwarded Liam's email to her. And by the way, I added with a sneer, you should probably keep a better eye on your husband. A man like that is hardly worth fighting for. Her face turned a mottled shade of red and white. Liam's email was a slap in the face, a shattering of her beliefs, a public humiliation. That left her speechless. In her mind, I was the one who had been shamelessly clinging to Liam. The reality was the complete opposite. Liam arrived just in time to hear my last words. He looked crestfallen, as if he had been dealt a heavy blow. With all the players present, I looked at them both with disdain. I am not a recycling center. I have no interest in used goods. So please do each other a favor and stay together. I wish you a lifetime of happiness. With that, I had security escort them out. Liam, how could you do this to me? I gave you a child and now you're tired of me. You want to get rid of me? Not a chance. Sophia, her mask finally off, shrieked at him. A crowd had gathered, watching them with amusement. You crazy bitch. Liam, embarrassed, tried to walk away, but she lunged at him, scratching and clawing. He tried to fend her off, but she was relentless. Finally, his own anger boiling over, he slapped her hard across the face. You dare hit me? I'll kill you. She stared at him in disbelief, then flew at him in a rage. They were soon grappling on the ground like a pair of wild animals. I had no desire to watch their ugly drama. I turned and went back inside. I heard that after they went home, their lives were anything but peaceful. Sophia became paranoid, convinced that every woman in Liam's vicinity was trying to steal him. Liam was driven half-mad by her jealousy, and Sophia herself was not much better off, her mental state deteriorating rapidly. I ran into her on the street once. She looked terrible, a shadow of her former self. I later heard that she and Liam had been fighting constantly because he was now cheating on her with her own cousin. The news was so bizarre it was almost comical. It seemed that a dog will always be a dog and will always go back to eating shit. It's karma, isn't it? I stole my best friend's boyfriend, and now my own husband is stolen by my cousin. You must be happy now. You know, I've always been so jealous of you. You're prettier than me, your family is rich, and you're an only child, your parents adore you. Why do you get all the good things? So I had to take something from you, including the man who loved you. Liam is just a dog. A little snap of the fingers and he comes running. So you should thank me, Vivian, for saving you from that scumbag. Her eyes had a wild, crazed look. Seeing her like that gave me a chill. I had a feeling something terrible was about to happen. And it did. Not long after, I heard that Liam was dead, and Sophia had gone completely insane. Liam had been determined to divorce her. He blamed her for our breakup, for the loss of his chance to be the son-in-law of the Sterling family, for his miserable life. Sophia, in a twisted attempt at reconciliation, had invited her cousin over for dinner and poisoned them both. Liam and his new lover died at the dinner table, bleeding from their eyes and mouths. The reason Sophia had latched onto Liam in the first place, besides her jealousy of me, was money. Her brother was getting married and needed a hefty dowry. Her parents had no money and had turned to her. She had given them most of her salary over the years and had nothing saved. They didn't care. They threatened to marry her off to an old, 50-year-old bachelor in their village for the dowry money. So, she had latched onto Liam, telling her family he was rich. They saw his flashy lifestyle and believed her. He had given her the money without a second thought. He was her lifeline. And now he was trying to leave her. She couldn't bear the thought of what her parents would do if they found out. Driven by desperation and madness, her only thought was that Liam had betrayed her, that he was abandoning her. After he died, she had held his body, muttering, There, now you can't go anywhere. You have to stay with me." Then, she had taken their child and jumped from the 22nd floor of their apartment building. I was in the midst of planning my own wedding when I heard the news. All I felt was a sense of weary sadness. I had hated them for their betrayal, had been trapped in my own pain for so long. But with time, both the love and the hate had faded. They had brought their fates upon themselves. The only innocent victim in this whole tragedy was their child, who had only been in this world for less than 2 years. I hoped that in his next life, he would be luckier in his choice of parents. "Vivian, what are you daydreaming about? Come and tell me how you want to decorate this part." "Coming." I smiled and walked towards the tall figure in front of me. The past was gone. My own beautiful future was just beginning.